896-5555. Jacksonville.
Brian's what we expected. He's long, he's fast, he's smart.
Daniels looking downfield. He wants a shot for Brian Thomas into the end zone. Touchdown.
You have to be explosive in this league. You know, it's tough enough being consistently efficient. We want to be able to have that explosive element to us.
Checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville. A crossing route to Christian Kirk. And the Jags have retaken the lead.
Repetition goes a long way, and utilizing that repetition to benefit, your football team. And that's where Trevor's really taken, I think, the next step.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Jaguars Today off and rolling back in the studio once again. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
All yours tomorrow, or whatever you want to do with it. You can share it if you want to with somebody.
am. Yeah,
Are you?
Mike DeRocco is coming in for
nice.
the show tomorrow. Yeah.
That's nice. He would obviously choose to do that on a day I wasn't here. I hope I'm going back under the I wouldn't say the knife exactly, but put it this way, back under anesthesia tomorrow. So I hopefully
the anesthesia and the lasers will be doing their thing.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be back on Thursday, maybe Friday, or if I don't make it.
Or see you in a month.
I was thinking a longer alternative than that. You never know when anesthesia is involved. So, let the battle royale for my spot begin, if that's the case. All right, I hopefully will be back. And then again, I really do hope to get back because I'm off next week.
Yeah.
Because then, you're out of sight, out of mind for a week and a half. And
that's a long time.
Who knows what happens at that point. So I hope to be joining you on the show on Thursday and Friday. But today it's Tuesday Top 5 time and got an early start on that one yesterday. I think, Tone, we're going to have a ton of overlap.
Yeah.
And it's understandable, right, with the question that we're asking. There's a limited pool of players that you can draw from for this question today. And I think there are some obvious candidates. I think the interesting thing is how they're ranked amongst ourselves. Guy, I bet we don't ever compare our list ahead of time.
No.
Like the surprise, but I think we'll have a lot of overlap. Today we're asking you, excluding the first-round picks, so taking Anton Harrison and Brian Thomas Jr. off the list, which 5 rookies or second-year players will have the biggest impact on the Jags this year? So I'm thinking, if you're a second-year player, you were a draft pick last year, maybe you were a guy who was signed to the practice squad. If you really think there's somebody out there that could be like that, an undrafted free agent, whatever the case may be. But we're basically looking at the last 2 NFL drafts from the Jaguars' perspective, taking the first-rounders out and saying from rounds 2 through 7, collectively, all the picks that Trent Baalke and company made, which ones will have the biggest, dent in what the Jags plan to get going this year, and there's some obvious ones. They're going to be counting on some young guys, but hey, guess what? So is every team in the National Football League.
Yeah, you don't draft guys because you don't want to use them, especially, in the first couple days of the draft. You're not going to draft a whole bunch of guys that you're like, we'll see what happens in 3 years, right? Like, that's not generally the idea that you're going to have with a bunch of second and third round draft picks, right? The idea is they're going to come in and help you right away, and if it's not immediate help from them, it's at least it needs to get here pretty quickly.
It's right. It's probably it's more, to me, generally second or third round pick. You got to make more of a contribution than we saw last year out of Brenton Strange and Tank Bigsby.
And they were kind of weird pick. We talked about it after they made them. It's like a tight end and a running back. Like, these aren't positions of need necessarily on the team. What can their impact even be in their rookie years? And we saw there wasn't much.
Right. Now, look, you've got to have a plan, though, if you are the team taking those players. And they were excited to draft those guys. And I do think they do have a plan for them. Brenton Strange was injured some, and we understand the whole story with Tank Bigsby. And did they lose some confidence in him? Did he lose some confidence in himself early on in the season? The way they're talking, they want to get back to the goals and role they envisioned for him last year. Does that mean he will fit the criteria as one of the top 5 most impactful first or second year Jaguars? Perhaps so. And again, I mean, look, Anton Harrison, Brian Thomas Jr. would be 1-2 in every poll, right? Or 2-1, however you want to order them, I would think.
Yeah.
So, trying to take the obvious out to try to expand some of the names that we'll get in there. Trevor Lawrence speaking yesterday. We got so much audio today. We won't get to nearly all of it. Bunch of interviews. By the way, you can go to 1010XL.com in the on-demand section. Tons of interviews up there. Joe C., Mia Hacker have got some just from yesterday that they've got on there. So you can go check those out. But we will get into a little bit today from, obviously, Trevor Lawrence. Anytime he speaks, we want to hear what the quarterback of the team has to say. But I'm very interested. I think Heath Farwell is going to become a guy we talk about a lot more this year. I think special teams coordinators in general are going to be going from anonymity a little bit more to the front lines. And they always say, it's 3 phases of football. And that's great. That's great. But you don't see specialists getting drafted in the first and second round very often either. So, you could talk about the importance of special teams. And granted, it's very important. But you can fill a lot of those roles with undrafted free agent types and late round picks and those kind of things. John Harbaugh, I believe, is still the only special teams predominant, exclusively special teams coach to make it as a head coach in the National Football League, I believe, right? Is there another one that you can think of that made that leap?
Not off the top of my
head.
Right.
I wonder if, because of the kickoff rule, if we have one or two of these guys really make their name in terms of adapting to the changes quicker than anybody else, both on return and coverage, that we don't get at least another. I'm not saying it's Heath Farwell. I don't know. But, I couldn't name you special teams coordinators around the league for the most part. But and that's kind of how we treat special teams. It's the third leg, but it's kind of the less important leg a little bit over there. And so I do wonder if we won't hear a little bit more about that, in the pool of candidates next year. Will they draw a little bit more from the special teams coordinators? Anyway, Dylan Denmark, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. We're good. It says the Google machine says, what was it? Talking about special teams coaches being head coaches. Dennis Green and, was it Levy?
Marv Levy was okay. Marv Levy was
now, I don't know if they were special teams coordinators and then went to defense or offense, but that was 2 of them that popped up.
You just didn't call him Mark Levy, did you?
No, my bad.
All right. No, I didn't. My bad if I did. All right, I didn't. Dennis Green, there you go. So there have been a handful over the years. I think John Harbaugh is the only current, one who made that path from coordinator of special teams to head coach, and it's worked out great for Baltimore for the most part.
And going to Wiki here with Marv Levy, he was the special teams coach with the Rams. He was a kickers coach with the Eagles before that, then the special teams coach in Washington before he got the head job in Kansas City.
I remember we had him on at the Super Bowl. I don't know how many years ago it was. He was in had to be mid-80s at the time? He was in his 80s, I think. And he was ready to go. He was like, I want another job, but they won't hire me. And he was pretty sharp at the time.
Yeah.
80s are a funny thing, man. Like my in-laws, all the mental faculties are right there. They're doing well generally. I play golf with my mother-in-law all the time. She's 84 years old. And I think it's fantastic, right? I see some other people, man. It's like, wow. You some people in their 60s look like they're in their 90s.
Right.
So you just never know. But they're, it's a tough sell to your fan base. What's the long-term plan? I don't know, make it to Wednesday? I don't know. He's 87. What do you want me to tell you what the long-term plan is about all this? All right, so we'll get to Trevor today. We'll get to Heath Farwell today, maybe a few other selected comments from some of the Jags down at OTAs as those are ongoing. No open media today, but we've got tons and goodies from you yesterday. Dylan, do you feel like you're missing out when we're on remote and we can't see you?
Yes, I feel like I'm just sitting in timeout and pushing buttons over here.
You're kind of the third wheel guy, right? Yeah. We were hanging out with E.T. and Frank and the whole crew down there.
That auction yesterday, oh my goodness.
Did you check it out?
Yeah, I saw it on Instagram.
You couldn't afford any of that stuff.
No. I'm on pennies and nickels over here.
My man's saving up to take his best girl out this weekend. It was pretty impressive stuff there. Do we know what Blake's golf experience ultimately went for?
I didn't look.
I'm going to look that one up and see if we can find it. Because it was at $2,500 early in the day. And if you got it for $2,500, that's a pretty good bargain.
That'd be fun.
You know, it's kind of a unique once in a one opportunity in a lifetime kind of thing to do. All right, so why don't we do this? I debated whether we should, because I think we're going to have some overlap on the names. Should we do the countdown 1 through 5, or should we do it 5 through 1? What do you want?
I'm fine either way.
All right, let's do a 5 through 1 pocket.
Okay.
So why don't we fire things up today?
Number 5.
All right, today's Jaguars Today question of the day. I'd like to get the first one out of the way early. Excluding the first-round picks, which 5 rookies or second-year players will have the biggest impact on the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2024? Tony Smith will bat leadoff today.
Sure. At number 5, I have Mason Smith, defensive tackle, end this year's second-round pick. I'm not even sure how much he's going to play. Personally, I'd be a little surprised if he got more than 40% of the snaps on defense with Armstead and Robertson Harris. Probably ahead of him right now, at least in that rotation when you look at the group, the wild card being Devon Hamilton. You know, they were raving about him when OTAs began. There's like, we got him back. He's back. It's the way that they were talking about. We don't know what kind of impact that's going to have, but that kind of 36 to 38% range feels about right for me with Mason Smith as far as just a snap percentage. And I do think they saw enough in him to make him the second-round pick.
Yep.
Right? I expressed it the Monday we came in after the draft. I was like, this one makes me nervous for all the reasons that we talked about at the time, but they expressed enough trust in it to make him that pick. I think he's going to play plenty this year for the Jags. And once I got past 4, it was kind of hard for me to figure out what exactly I wanted to do.
I felt like the 5th spot was a little bit of a wild card,
Yeah.
right? Like, you could throw almost anybody. I bet we had the same top 4. I bet a lot of people had the same top 4.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong about this, you know, because I'm looking at like, oh, these were the obvious ones to me. They may not be to you, but I did the same thing. I went a little bit off the board with number 5. So
yeah, like I was considering Elijah Cooks at 5. Not hard, but
Okay.
considering him there at 5. I was thinking about Cephas, how much of an impact could he? But it was at that kind of range is where we were at already with my expectations for the guys that have been drafted the last couple of years. But obviously their, trust in the player to make him a second-round pick this year tells you that they see something in him that I might not necessarily see, but they see something in him, and it's obviously a position where they need some kind of pop. They're from the inside of the defensive line,
Sure.
So you invest the second-round pick in a guy, he ought to have some kind of impact, I would hope, as soon as his rookie year.
All right, from the desk of Dylan Denmark, who you got at number 5?
Number 5, I'm going to go with the kicker, Cam Little. I don't know if this is because I think he's going to have a good year or if I don't think that everybody else above him is, going to have that good of a season coming up this year. But I'm going to say Cam Little, I think he's worth at least a game where it's going to come down late in the situation, 2-minute warning, and he's going to have to make a kick. And we've had Chad Ryder on from the NFL.com, and he said that he was the best kicker at the Combine. He's been making 60-yarders with ease, and it wasn't even close. So I'm going to say Cam Little.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite kicker in the draft,
Yep.
as a matter of fact. So I bet we'll hear Cam Little's name more as the day goes on today. And you think about it, Tone, like war in baseball, right? Wins above replacement. Like if you have a war of 10, that's like a Hall of Fame season, right?
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous season. Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs. He had a war of 10.6, meaning he was worth 10 and a half more wins over the average player that you could have put in the lineup for him, right? Over a 160-game season, right? That's the equivalent of like one game of an NFL season, right? So if Cam Little wins you a game or two that you might otherwise have lost,
Right.
that is a massive impact for one guy to have as a first or second year player. So, all right, we'll talk more about Cam Little, I am sure, as we go along. All right, my wild card here at number 5, I also went with LSU defensive tackle Jordan Jefferson. Okay, I did because Tone, I think he has a chance to be the one true run stuffer nose guy. Like maybe Devon Hamilton will be that as well. Who knows? And I'm not saying he's going to play every down. It may just be, key short yardage situations. But I think if the Jags are going to make a significant improvement in their run defense, there's a path for him to being a key part of that in the middle of that defense. We got a lot of interesting guys like Armstead now. I agree. I hope you're right about Mason Smith because Mason Smith's package of ability is impressive, right?
Yeah.
And if Mason Smith tops out what he can do, I think he'll push Brian Thomas Jr. as being the most valuable guy in this draft for the Jaguars. Now, that we're talking about a long way down the road, looking back and measuring impact, okay? I absolutely think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to have a mega impact on this team immediately, but I'm going with Jordan Jefferson because, to me, if I'm like, who is the one guy that I can throw in there as an anchor, and I feel like he might end up being the number one candidate for that kind of a role on this football team. Again, doesn't mean he's going to necessarily be starting on first and second down, third and long, any of that, but look, the Jags need not only to improve their own short yardage, but they need to improve their own short yardage run defense as well. So I'm going with Jefferson as kind of my wild card in the 5 spot. So we got a Mason Smith, a Cam Little, and a Jordan Jefferson. Again, I think we're going to get a lot of overlap on the first 4. You can hit us up with your list of 5 in any number of ways. If you have time, you want to get in the call, 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can jump in the YouTube virtual studio and hit us up in the YouTube chat, or, of course, on X or Twitter at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, go Tigers. All right, already a couple of Tigers getting mentioned here in the early going. So there you go, your Tuesday top 5, excluding the first rounders. Which 5 rookies or second-year players will have the biggest impact on the Jags in 2024 when we return? What better way to lead things off than with Trevor Lawrence? Always want to hear from the quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Are we going to get that deal done soon? Trevor hopes so. I would too if I were him. All right, we'll get into that and a ton more. Trevor and Heath Farwell, the main components of what you'll hear from today, the Jags quarterback and special teams coordinator, Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Feeling great. I'm telling you, my medical numbers when I get checked out, the doctors were amazed at my resting heart rate, my blood pressure, all these things. I'm not carrying around a 50-pound sack of potatoes anymore on my back. I was losing weight, but Awaken 180 got me to the finish line and got me to a goal weight that I had not hit in probably over 30 years. And the beautiful thing is I've been able to maintain that weight loss. That's the big thing for me with Awaken 180. Look, first you got to lose it, right? But I'm telling you, Awaken 180, if you follow their plan, there's no doubt the pounds will melt off you. You got to stick with it. If you follow their coaching, follow their guidance, once you hit your goal weight, you can maintain that weight loss for as long as you like, because they'll teach you how to eat. You're going to change your own eating desires. You're going to look at food in a different way. You're going to eat to lose weight, and then you're going to be able to maintain that weight loss with free support and coaching for life. Call 844-346-1800 for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. That's 844-346-1800, or schedule your consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars
Today
from the JOI studios at 1010XL. Here's another classic Florida Gator moment.
Snap is perfect. Tebow uses that 6'3" frame to struggle for the first down.
I'm like, wow, this is pretty freaking fun. Tim Tebow jumps up and sings first down.
1010XL, home of the Florida Gators.
June is Men's Health Month. I'm going to Ackerman Cancer Center this week for a total body MRI scan. Since the scan covers the bladder, kidneys, and prostate, the most common cancer areas for men. Be proactive with your health this month. Call Ackerman Cancer Center and learn more about total body MRI.
Is your old AC trying to keep up with the Florida heat?
At JTM Comfort Services, they understand the importance of a reliable AC system. That's why they offer financing on qualified repairs and replacements. Don't suffer through another scorching summer. Upgrade now to a new, energy-efficient system. Visit jtmcooling.com to learn more and schedule your consultation. Veteran and family owned.
Your comfort is our name. Call my dad to keep you in the game.
Are you tired of living with constant pain from torn ligaments or nagging tendinitis and bothersome joint pain? Say goodbye to endless medications and invasive surgeries. Go BioTarget Regenerative Treatment is available only at injury care centers. Their innovative approach helps you recover faster and get back to doing what you love without drugs or surgery. Don't just treat the symptoms, target the root cause with BioTarget. Visit GoBioTarget.com to learn more and schedule your appointment today.
All right, get those boats ready. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin is coming soon to St. Augustine. It's June 8th. Just go to oldschoolkingfish.com. You can find out more. The grand prize is a Yellowfin bay boat. And with limited boundaries, no bait buying, and no checkout, it is seriously old school. That's why it's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. Here's how you do it. You go online, you sign up, and you become part of what is growing to a terrific event. It's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. Go to oldschoolkingfish.com.
The Guardian calls it a comedy with a thrust of a well-tuned engine. Chicago Theater called it a whirlwind of mayhem, and the New York Times said it has no right to be this funny. The Alhambra Theater presents Boeing. Set in the 60s, tells the story of a ladies' man pilot and the 3 women who believe they are engaged to him. Sure to sell out? Get your tickets at alhambrajax.com. alhambrajax.com.
In sports, the grind outside the lines is what ultimately defines our success. Get the Amateur's Edge, powered by B3 Better, to learn the hidden path of top pros, amateurs, and coaches. Saturday mornings at 11 on 1010XL.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, you talk a lot about a diamond's cut grade. Why is a diamond graded for cut?
Frank, that's simple. We cut grade diamonds to show a measurement of beauty and light return to the person looking at the diamond so they can understand the value difference between a diamond cut for maximum beauty and one cut for maximum weight. Now, it gets a little more complicated when you find out that the American Gem Society Laboratory actually assigns performance grades and proportion grades using patented computer software and grades for polish and symmetry using a microscope. The end result of cut grading is a final grade that can go from a 0 or ideal to a 10, which is poor. Each of these grades are priced a little differently. That's why you can see a diamond with a fine color and clarity priced low, particularly on the internet, because a trained gemologist won't buy it for resale because of the poor cut. Unfortunately, these type deals aren't good deals. They're bad deals for the unknowing customer.
Underwoods in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Golf takes center stage at Hidden Hills Golf Club, but we have a little bit of something for everyone. So whether you want to practice, play, or just relax with friends in the Hills Grill, Hidden Hills is the place for you. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
I mean, yeah, I think that would be ideal, just to put it behind us and keep moving and feel good about that going into training camp. But either way, like I've said before, I have the same job, so I can't always control all those factors, but I have the same job to do either way. But yeah, I mean, I would, of course, that'd be ideal, is to get it done, as soon as you can and kind of move forward.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of, as that's Trevor Lawrence talking about the timing of his contract extension. Get it done before training camp. That'd be ideal. Put it out of the way, right? The business is done. Now we can just focus on football. I don't have to get asked about this all the time. I do one press conference where I answer a few questions, say, hey, it's fantastic. My goal is to be here for the rest of my career, blah, 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 lead the Jags to multiple Super Bowls, and then we move on, right? And that's great. And I'm with it. I don't like talking about contract stuff. Just get it done.
No.
So it is interesting, though. You see yesterday a report, I guess, from Ian Rappaport saying the Dolphins are closer with Tua, and then you see in I think Mike Garofalo of NFL Network put out the Jags contract with Lawrence and the Dolphins contract with Tua are always going to be linked side by side. Why? Why more than any other guy who's getting an extension right now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why more than Goff? Because Goff's a little bit older, or I'm not really sure. You know what I mean? They're not in the same draft class.
No. So. And, we're not – I know I'm not following – I didn't follow the day-to-day of what Joe Burrow had to say about the contract as it was happening.
No.
Right? Like, I wasn't listening to every word he had to say about the process of getting that deal done. I didn't listen to it about Herbert. I'm not listening to it about Tua, right? It's Trevor Lawrence saying what he said. It does feel indicative to me of how close it is to getting done, right? Like, that's what that felt like to me. You can ask Trevor Lawrence a question like that, and it does feel like typically in my mind, players would say, yeah, we hope to get it done. You know, I'm happy to be here, ready to get back to work, that kind of thing. And that's not exactly what Trevor said. He said all those things too, but he also said, yeah, now's good.
Yeah, now, right. But right. So he probably has a sense of where things are.
Yeah.
And all that, and you got a couple of months or a little less than that to the start of training camp. So, okay, I think your point, maybe, Tone, and I'm not trying to make your point for you, but that if he didn't feel like that was plausible,
you would answer that a different way.
Right. You'd say, hey, I'm not worried about it. It'll take care of itself. It'll get done when it gets done.
Happy to be here.
Right. And my focus is football. But, hey, okay, we all understand this is going on, and let's get this thing done. And, again, 2 months, what other major things is the front office working on?
Yeah.
Right? In that time period. I don't know.
Right.
It's not that. I mean, you're still doing your stuff with your pro personnel. You're watching film of available players, and you're keeping up to date. But there's one priority here, that they can take care of.
Yes.
Stadium's a big priority. That's not, you don't worry about that.
That's all political.
You worry about this guy over here. Get it done. I'm confident it will. I am. I'm confident it will. And now if we get to training camp and it's not done, I will go, what have you been doing? What is the hang-up, right? Yeah. And I think that's fair.
I'm right there with you.
Let's hear more from Trevor Lawrence. How much does the way things went off the rails at the end of last year light that fire for him in 2024?
No, I wouldn't say it's a non-factor. I mean, I think it does add a chip to on your shoulder of, when you finish the season the way we did. I've said it before. I mean, there's only one team happy at the end of the year. That's who wins the Super Bowl. So no matter what, you always got something that you're trying to reach and achieve, and that's the goal. But especially the way our season ended. I mean, it adds a little bit of a chip to your shoulder. And I mean, for us, though, it's the same. It has to be the same goal, though, every week, is just to get that much better and to put ourselves in a position to be playing meaningful games in December, January, and make a push at the end of the year and just get better every week. I think that's something where you look back last year. It's almost we peaked a little too soon, and we didn't finish the season the way we wanted to. And it's important to be playing your best at the end of the year.
Yeah, you can really kind of, when you think back to, I can still envision Trevor Lawrence in the tunnel in Kansas City after that divisional round loss following the 2022 season and the way he was reacting to it. And that gives you the reality of, it's not a successful season, obviously, especially if you're making it to the divisional round of the playoffs, if it doesn't end with a Super Bowl, right? Like, I get that side of it, and I certainly hope that they're able to use the massive disappointment of the way the last month and a half went of the 2023 season to make something happen as we get into 2024. Trevor Lawrence was also asked, looking to 2024, just how much better is the team right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gotten a lot better. Just the way, the tempo, the intensity that we've had in OTAs has been definitely a step up of the past couple years. I know that was the point of emphasis for us, is to really take advantage of this time that we get. Because come training camp, you want to feel like you're on your way to being a well-oiled machine. Obviously, you have work to do, but you want to use this time, maximize it. So when you get to training camp, you feel like you're a step ahead of, where we were last year, even just other teams around the league. You want to try to get every advantage you can, and I think taking advantage of these practices is important.
Anyone who's been paying attention to any of the Jaguars social media here in the last 3 weeks, you've probably seen daily, at least when they've been open to media at all, you've seen daily the little clips of Brian Thomas Jr., right, out there working out with Trevor Lawrence and the rest of the offense. And this is the season to be excited about guys not wearing pads, looking like athletes, right, out on a football field, and trying to envision exactly what that's going to look like once we get into the regular season and the pads come on and the focus needs to go up. The intensity obviously is going to go up when all these things happen. So I usually temper all of my excitement about seeing these kind of things during OTAs, but I can understand fans being pumped about seeing Trevor Lawrence throw footballs to Brian Thomas Jr. Trevor was asked yesterday about his first impressions here in the last few weeks of the first-round pick, Brian Thomas Jr. at wide receiver.
I really like him. Obviously just talented, can fly. He's really smart. I think that's the one thing I'm most impressed with is he's picking up the offense super fast. He's a quiet guy, so we're still, getting him to ask questions and stuff, but, he doesn't ask any questions. He always knows what to do. So I've been impressed. That's tough for a rookie. I was there, obviously, at one point, and I was swimming a little bit, and to see him come out here and pick everything up and really not skip a beat has been impressive. And then the more comfortable he gets in the system and knows what to do, he's just going to get better and better.
You can see the clips that, Brian Thomas Jr. is an impressive athlete out there on the field, and we'll see what that looks like once they get onto the field. But Trevor Lawrence was also asked one more thing here about Brian Thomas Jr., just the chemistry that he's already developing with the young wide receiver.
I think our chemistry is growing every day. I'm starting to get a feel for how he likes to run routes. I'm starting to, communicate more on how I want things to look and the thoughts that I have based on certain coverages or techniques on the defense. I think he's doing a good job of just soaking everything up, and that's what this time's about, is learning it all, as much as you can. So in training camp, obviously you're going to keep learning, but you want to, like I said, you want to be rolling in training camp and get ready for the season.
We'll hear more from Trevor Lawrence as we go throughout the program here this morning as he spoke with the media after OTA practice yesterday. We'll also get back into the Tuesday top 5. Which 5 rookies or second-year players will have the biggest impact on the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up here in 2024? We'll all get to number 4 on our list as we continue along. This is a Tuesday edition of Jaguars Today here on 1010 XL.
Jaguars Today. From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios at 1010XL. Jacksonville Sports, Island in the Sun. 1010XL.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Hawthorne Heights presents 20 Years of Tears live at the St. Augustine Amphitheater, Thursday, August 8th, with special guests Thursday, Amberlin, Armor for Sleep, Emery, and This Wild Life. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing has the highest wind and impact ratings available? If you want a stronger roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Learn more at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
Did you know Duck Duck Rooter is the area's go-to plumber? A 5-star Google-rated company, Duck Duck Rooter can take care of all of your plumbing repairs and upgrades. Need to switch from septic over to city sewer? Call the Duck. How about water heater repairs and replacement? You're just a duck away, or call away, for Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
New faces on the field for the first time in team.
There are no shortcuts, man.
OTA coverage is brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Up, quick speed!
On 1010XL.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
The saying goes, the grass is greener on the other side. Well, that is actually true if your neighbor installed artificial turf. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned local company that will take your backyard dreams and turn them into a reality. Caleb can design anything from putting greens to pet runs, and if you have a pool, you'll definitely love maintenance-free turf around it. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today. Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and the summer sun is just begging us to get out and ride, and Honda's got every level of rider in mind, don't they?
They do. They've got Honda scooters, they got the mini motos, great for the beach. They've got the big heavy gold wing, great for taking something cross country. Or they got the weekend warrior bikes too. We got them all in the showroom.
Yeah, the real cool thing about it is you can log on to cyclesofjacksonville.com or just cruise on by and check you out.
Absolutely. We got them on the showroom, ready to roll.
On Atlantic near Regency, Cycles of Jacksonville.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Are mosquitoes turning your outdoor fun into a full contact sport? Time to call in Kingfish Pest Control. I can tell you from my own experience, they are the MVPs of mosquito elimination. See for yourself. Call Kingfish Pest Control today and get an unbeatable 50% off your first treatment. That's right, sign up for a full season of lockdown coverage and get 50% off your first treatment. Don't let mosquitoes steal your home field advantage. Reclaim your yard with Kingfish Pest Control.
Hey folks, it's Mike Dempsey for Pella Windows and Doors. Now, you probably heard me mention that errant golf ball that led us to replace our windows. And obviously, if I'm investing in my home's appearance and comfort, I want the best. Well, now my new Pella windows are installed and they look fantastic. And we've already noticed a difference in outside noise reduction and energy savings. So if you need to replace your windows or doors, visit my friends at the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway or check them out online at PellaJacks.com. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
It is Tuesday Top 5 here on Jaguars Today. Again, we'll get back into our countdown here with the Top 5 momentarily. I also want to let you hear from Jaguars special team coordinator Heath Farwell. We're all curious to see what exactly it's going to look like with all the rule changes on kickoffs, especially, right, this year. So we'll hear a little bit from Heath here in just a few moments. But we do have a few more here from Trevor Lawrence, who last we spoke with him, he was asked about his impressions of his new center, Mitch Morse.
He's been great. Mitch has been a really good addition in the O-line room. Just kind of the way he came in and gets along with everybody great. He's a good leader. Obviously super experienced, has played a lot of football, and been on some really good teams. So I think bringing that experience here is going to be really good for us. He's a really smart guy. Obviously it's still early. We're still getting to know each other, working together. But I really like the way he just handles his business and carries himself. It's been fun to be around, and I'm just excited to really for the way him and Luke have worked together too. Has been cool to see, and he helps Luke and vice versa, and it's really good rapport. And he fits in the room great.
Might be the most important addition they've made.
Yeah.
In the last year or so.
Argument to be made for it.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But in terms of upgrading a spot, might have been the most critical add that they've had. Look, year 3 in this offense, right? There's some stability, some continuity tone. You should start to see Trevor Lawrence feel more comfortable, start to take off, and
that's the hope.
Do more things, right? We've heard, from both Press Taylor and Doug Peterson that Trevor's taken more ownership of the offense and what have you. And he spoke yesterday about how he feels now going into his 3rd year in the same offense.
Yeah, I think another year in this system, just owning it more and more every year. And I feel like this year especially I've been able to express more of things that I like, want to do more of, maybe things I don't like or whatever it is, and been able to communicate a lot with the coaches, which has been great. So I think just owning the offense more and more every year is the key, and it's going to help me get better and have a really good grasp of what we're doing, what we're trying to do, the things that we need to improve on. I feel like I'm really in sync with the staff and kind of what the goals are and what we wanted to accomplish this offseason. And then going into training camp, obviously it's going to be, another list of things. But no, I feel really good, and that's the goal, is to get better every year. So I feel like, yes, I'll get better this year, and I'm excited for it.
We'll always, whenever we bring up the Trevor Lawrence anything, there's that handful of people out there who want to call in to express their reasons why they shouldn't do it at all. Right, with Trevor, they're ready to move on now. All these different kind of things. I think you and I have expressed it very differently. I'm very confident in Trevor Lawrence going forward. We haven't talked about it to this degree this way, but I think we're going to see this year in year 4 for him a lot of what we expected to see in year 3.
I hope so. Yeah. Right? I mean, and
I'm confident that's the guy they're getting this year.
Here's the thing to me, Tone. In today's age with the salary cap, I get it. You can't completely whiff and give a guy way more than what he is worth. But the Jags came into this offseason, into free agency with about what in salary cap space? $30 million, something like that, right? They have more than that now.
Yeah.
And they signed tons of guys. Now they've got to allocate some for the rookie class, but they signed a number of their rookies as well, and they still have the 5th most cap space in the league.
Yeah, I think it's 34 right
34
now.
million, right?
Yeah.
So the cap's going up and up and up and up. And let's just say that Trevor Lawrence, he's going to get $100+ million of this deal guaranteed, right? And okay, so are you going to, if you had to start over, are you going to be in position to get a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence in the next several years? I don't think so, right? Because you're going to win enough games that you're going to be in the middle class at worst, I would hope, right? So if that's the case, I have much higher expectations than that for Trevor Lawrence, ultimately. I think he can fulfill having one of those top 5-ish type contracts in the National Football League. And a lot of pundits, but I shouldn't say most, a lot of them still have him around the 11th, 12th best quarterback in the National Football League, right? And this is, granted, not having fulfilled all of our expectations at this point. If he has that kind of year, if he puts that 34 touchdown, 12 interception, 4,500 yards, doesn't fumble it a bunch, Jags win double-digit games type season up there, as you mentioned the other day, don't forget, he got MVP votes in 2022. He's going to put himself right back in that conversation of the rising young quarterbacks because, again, he didn't turn 25 until October.
Right.
He's still a young quarterback in this league. So I can't – for me, there's zero hesitation about giving him this contract.
Right there with you.
So, all right, what do we got? One more here from Trev?
Yeah, one more here from Trevor Lawrence, who was asked about, we heard him talking about Brian Thomas Jr. What about the other wide receiver they added in this offseason? He was asked about them bringing in Gabe Davis.
He's been great, just hard worker. Obviously, he's still working himself back in, but just hard worker. He's smart. He's a good leader. I mean, the way he communicates with the room, he'll talk about stuff that, maybe they did in Buffalo that might be a little bit different, whether it's concepts or route technique and some things that they did or, just kind of talking about everything. And you can tell he's really smart, sees the field, understands coverages. Just going to be a great addition for us. And he's willing to do all the dirty work too, which is cool to see from a receiver. He's willing to block, kind of do whatever he needs to do. And obviously he's a playmaker down the field, and that'll be a good addition for us.
Look, he's super efficient on deep balls. Trevor's really efficient, one of the most effective deep ball throwers in the National Football League. At least according to the metrics people out there. And now you bring in a Gabe Davis who has excelled in that area in terms of a yards per catch guy and a touchdown score. And you bring in Brian Thomas Jr., who certainly can, the metrics tell you, the measurables tell you, can excel in those areas. He's got the raw material.
Yeah.
Some guys don't make that leap from college to the pros. But if he does make that transition as successfully as a guy with his talent would allow him to, not everybody has the package of tools that Brian Thomas brings to work with him every day.
Oh, yeah. And I think if you get the impact that is being anticipated right now from the combination of Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. coming into the offense, the dividends that can pay for Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram and their ability to just own the middle part of the field.
Which they do anyway.
Right. But if you give them somebody taking somebody off, the combination of those things, that's when you start thinking about this offense could be really good this year, right? When you start combining some of those ideas, it's all got to happen.
They got to do it, right?
We haven't seen Thomas
last year.
We haven't seen those guys play together yet, so we got to see what it's all going to look like. But the vision of what it could be, you understand why people would be excited. I am too.
fan cam on the text line throwing out our prospective Trevor Lawrence contract numbers. I wishful thinking here. 10 years, $500 million, $300 million guaranteed with fluff in years 9 and 10. Fluff usually means padded numbers, right? That brings the average up. No way Trevor takes that deal. His agent would be sued for malpractice for accepting that. Why would you lock yourself into a little below today's top going rate for the next 10 years? Right? Now, I get it. Mahomes did it, right? And I suppose you could, but if it gets too out of whack, you don't think they're going to change Mahomes' contract, right? Kind of what's the point? I think 5 years is the max that we'll see, and it will be $50 million plus. So will it be 250? Will it be 260? I don't know exactly where it falls. It's going to be well over $100 million guaranteed, but I don't think they're handing out that $300 million guaranteed. I honestly think if I'm Trevor, I'm looking at that and go, no, thank you. I'll do it maybe for half that length of time, but I want to get back in potentially. Like, you can want to play for the franchise all you want. You still want to keep your earning power as viable as possible. So if he signs this deal when he's 24 years old in the summer, now it depends. Are they going to rip up the last year of his deal? He's under the 5th-year option next year. Is this 5 years added on to the end of that? Right, so now you're talking about you're still going to be like 31 years old. When even after you run through all that, barring a franchise tag, and 31, even 33, we're seeing these guys get massive deals now because the life cycle of a quarterback is so much longer. Drew Brees just came out this week and said his body wanted to play 3 more years. His shoulder wouldn't let him. He had, basically a shoulder reconstruction early on in his career. But if that aspect had held up, he would have played deep into his 40s, it sounds like, And I'm not saying Trevor will do that. The money's so big, you don't have to do that nowadays. But nevertheless, that's some good stuff there from Trevor Lawrence. Sorry I had to step away there for a sec, Tone. Yeah, it's one of those deals, like, been trying to coordinate. And it doesn't really matter. Back, ready to go. Pockets, we ready to continue the countdown here?
I am.
Let's go.
Number 4.
All right, counting them down today, outside of the first-round picks, who are the 5 rookies or second-year players that are going to have the biggest impact on the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2024? Pockets is dealing with a phone call at the moment. Let me go back to my list, make sure I list them in the exact order that I intended to here. All right, number 4 for me, Tony, is Tank Bigsby. I think he's going to show up in a ton of lists. I know he has from the people that have submitted them. I don't know if he's on yours, but I think they had a pretty sizable role envisioned for him last year, and they're talking about getting back to that this time around. Like, he's got to hang on to the football. He's got to protect it, and if he can get through the first few weeks of the season doing that, and you kind of get past that mental hurdle. I don't want him coming in that first carry going, oh no, I got to hang on. You know what I mean? Because then you're going to be ineffective. I think they're going to be, according to Doug Peterson himself, there's going to be a lot more opportunity for Tank this year. They want to take a little of that workload off Travis Etienne. They envisioned him as a short yardage bully among his roles for this football team. So I think Tank Bigsby's role is going to grow. They have to take some of the work and keep Etienne fresh for the postseason, which is what you're vying for, right? I'm not saying the drop-off is that significant. He's not going to get equal carries or even 40% or anything like that, but I do think he's going to have a significant enough workload that he will certainly fall into my top 5 here at number 4. Who you got at 4?
I've seen Tank at number 1. On a bunch of lists from people out there. I'm curious to see where Pockets is going to wind up having him on his list. I assume he's on there. At some point, I got him at 4 too.
Hey!
I've said on the show for the last couple of weeks that I wasn't all that confident that he would cut into Etienne's usage last year. I wound up being right about that, but probably for the wrong reason, right? When everything was said and done, I didn't see a reason to limit Etienne's touches going into last year. The team, they had their own plan. They switched it up, and what they expected to be able to do with Bigsby last year, I think they're going to try to do again this year. So I think that plan is exactly what they're going to do to start this year, is to make Bigsby be more a part of it. Me personally, and I still feel this way about it, I don't have a problem with Etienne getting 85% of the running back looks. I really don't. I think he's that good of a player that he can do that for you. I think he's a Pro Bowl level running back in the league right now. I think that's what I see Etienne being. I'm not surprised that the team is looking at it saying, look, we got to take some of the workload off this guy. Right. Like, I understand that they want to look at it that way, and that their plan going into the season is going to take some of the workload off Etienne. That's the plan. right, is to use Bigsby to take some of that workload off. If it doesn't look like it's working early, I'm comfortable for one more year with ETN being, all right, we got to run, put ETN on the field.
You do what
I'm
you have to do.
comfortable with it, yeah.
I agree with you, but, look, 2 between the tackles carries a game more than what he's been doing. Is that much, right?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
That's 34 carries over the course. That's a decent chunk, and those are your often high-impact, the most physically demanding carries that you can have, especially down in goal line, short yardage when they know it's coming.
Yeah, but it explains why I go through all that to try to explain why I have him at 4 instead of 1, right? Which is where a lot of listeners have been putting him in. I still see ETN as – I see him as the man, and I know the team sees him as the man.
I agree.
But I see him as I really think ETN is a Pro Bowl level player at the running back position. And it's not difficult for me if I was the one making the decision. It would be more difficult for me to get him off the field than to keep him on. It's easier for me to just say, look, we need him.
You just have to be disciplined sometimes.
Right.
I think you have to go in with a plan, like this is the workload we're comfortable with, because otherwise, how do you not fall into that trap every single time? He's your best option, right?
I get it, yeah.
Sometimes you've got to let that next guy make the play. Like, you can't throw it to Kirk on every pass, right? And I get it. There's different circumstances, not apples to apples. Pockets, who you got at number 4?
Tank Bigsby.
Tank Bigsby.
Yeah,
it's a clean sweep for the number 4 spot.
Yeah, only thing I'll add is, I wonder if he'll get any touches at the kickoff return. We're going to get Keith Farwell. He's going to talk about a couple of guys. But I wonder if he'll, really anybody in the league, if they're going to use a receiver to return the ball on kickoff, is it going to be a running back, or who is it going to be that can get the touches back there? And Tank might be one of those guys for us this year.
Let me ask you this question. It's maybe dumb because maybe there's just not a fit here, and I get it. They drafted Keelan Robinson, right? I go to CBS Sports yesterday, and on the front page, there's 10 players who are still available that could impact things, right? I'm paraphrasing what the story.
Sure.
You may have seen it, right?
It's this time of year. We get these kind of things.
And Ryan Tannehill, among quarterbacks, was number 1 guy on the list, and if you need a vet to come in and be your backup, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Jamal Agnew was like number 7 on this list, right? Like, how much would it cost of that $34 million? Like, we know, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. You drafted Keelan Robinson, and you do have Duvernay, but, I mean, would Duvernay and Agnew back there on kickoff returns not scare the hell out of somebody? Seriously, and I get it. It's a numbers game, and Keelan Robinson goes in the running back column.
We've seen enough of Agnew up close and personal here, the last several years, that I'm really surprised that this late in the process he's not on the roster
No
yet.
one's picked him up. Yeah. Tone, in an era when we're all talking about everyone might have to have 2 return people.
Yeah.
It's very odd because he has done nothing but grow as a receiver. You don't have to bring him in as one of your top 3 or even 4 receivers.
No, but him being your 4th receiver on game day is awesome.
Is fine.
Right.
It's like because of what he can do in the return game. I hope he doesn't end up in the AFC South somewhere other than Jacksonville. Seriously, I saw that piece and I'm like, man, I wonder if there's any thought to that, or maybe they're just like, hey, you know what, we got Keelan Robinson can give us what we need. Duvernay is going to be our punt returner. He was an All-Pro, right? So you're talking about a 50% kickoff returner. So you're talking about maybe 25% of the return game. So I get it, but he has done some nice things in the receiving game as well. But that becomes a numbers game. We've gone through how are all these receivers going to make this football team, right? They're not. Joshua Cephas, everyone's new favorite guy. They can't all make the team.
Right.
They can make the practice squad. So it's probably kind of silly to think about just because they've had to have gone through this, and you go through where guys stand in the pecking order, and, we always forget about Parker Washington. He's another guy that they can develop as a returner, as a receiver as well, and he is cheap labor, cheaper than what you're paying Agnew. And ultimately, Trevor Lawrence is going to swoop in with this new contract, and who knows if they're going to use a bunch of the cap space this year that they have to try to take an early hit on that, or they roll that into next year. It's not like the cap space has to disappear on you. Right? If you don't use it this year, you can roll it over to next year and still apply that. But this got me thinking a little bit about that. Like, go to the NFC. Jamal, if you're going to go anywhere.
He's
He's still out there on social media, following Jag stuff and stuff like that. So anyway, let's come back and let's get into a little bit with Heath Farwell, the Jaguars special teams coordinator, as we head into hour 2. Tony will take us around the National Football League as well. We continue the countdown of the top 5 impact players, excluding the first-round picks out of the rookie and second-year player pool for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Everybody here had Tank Bigsby at number 4. We'll continue the countdown coming up on the other side. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Every day I go home, I think, man, my house looks great. It feels great. Obviously, Pella has it covered from top to bottom. Consumer Reports going to tell you they're the best in the industry in all the window categories. I trust them in my home. That's the best endorsement I can possibly give. I needed to replace the windows in my house. I went with the company that I think is the best, and that's Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're a homeowner replacing your windows, maybe you're building a new home, maybe you're a trade professional working with clients, the design experts at Pella can help get your project running smoothly and looking great. Visit PellaJacks.com or go to the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
Do you realize where we are?
No.
Look around, man. The clean, modern aesthetic, the cool blue color palette. We're in
1010XL.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn. Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty. A proud partner of the Jaguars. You can find Brackish Vodka and all the new flavors available at Liquor Masters in Mandarin. Pick up a bottle today and drink like a local.
Hold on tight, because All Pro Roofing is unleashing some electrifying news. Brace yourselves for instant excitement. Instant roof quotes are here. Simply surf over to their website and hit the Instant Roof Quote tab. Boom! That's your ticket to a lightning-fast estimate. Head over to allproroofingllc.com. Click that Instant Roof Quote tab. What are you waiting for? Click on the Instant Roof Quote tab today at allproroofingllc.com.
License number CCC 1327056.
CDC 060138.
A no-risk, all-rewards path to real weight loss. If you're not happy with your Awaken 180 results in the first week, get 100% of your money back. No risk, but every reward. With the solution for weight loss, awaken180weightloss.com.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, I'm not going to pretend I know the specific problems you might be facing when it comes to the prospect of selling your home. Maybe you need more space for your office or a growing family. Perhaps you're worried about selling for less money with a low-ball, out-of-state, instant offer. It's a tougher market. It means it's crucial to hire the right agents to sell your home and maximize your price, and that's why I'm recommending Chad and Sandy Newman, chadandsandy.com. They have the plan and experience to get your home sold fast and get it sold for maximum cash. In fact, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Can you have any more comfort and security than that? Take Tanya in Palencia. I needed to sell my condo fast. I bought a new construction home thinking I had plenty of time to sell. But I listed with another realtor and I got no showings and no offers. I ended up paying 2 mortgages. I then hired Chad and Sandy. I got offers in days and closed in under 30. Go to chadandsandy.com and take advantage of chadandsandy.com.
American Electrical is looking for bright minds and hard workers to help light up North Florida. This community continues to grow, and now you can grow your career with a company that will make sure you succeed through commitment. American Electrical even has its own academy dedicated to training select students the electrical trade, and the best news, it's free of charge. Log on to american-electrical.com to find out more. They're leading the way in electrical contractors on the First Coast. american-electrical.com.
This is the sound of turning small bets into legendary wins. Only on the Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app. The sound of parlays. The sound of paydays. The sound of watching the game will never be the same. Hard Rock Bet has already paid out millions and millions in parlays to people across Florida. Download Hard Rock Bet now, and if your first bet doesn't win, get up to $100 back as a bonus bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to play. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You
cool! Today's contestant, an avocado consultant from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Dave Ortega. Okay, Dave, here's your question. Your house is not bad in the morning, but by the afternoon, your AC can barely keep up, even with the curtains closed. What do you do?
Oh, can I buy a valve?
Not that kind of show, Dave.
Can I spin the wheel?
Yeah, we don't even have a wheel, Dave.
Can I phone a friend? Oh, can I call Bueller?
That's right, Dave. Call Bueller Air and Plumbing to assess your home's airflow and sunlight patterns, and let us optimize your air conditioning so that you are cool.
This is the happiest day of my life.
Well, you gotta get out more, Dave.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows in $2.95.
I'm Patrick Young, inviting you to the Florida SBDC's Network Small Business Success Summit, August 19th and 20th at the Sawgrass Marriott in Ponte Vedra. If you're ready to learn, network, and be inspired, I'll be delivering a keynote message you won't want to miss. Secure your spot today by registering at floridasbdc.org. Hey, there's no time to waste. Right now is the right time. I hope to see you at the Small Business Success Summit in August.
Denny Thompson here. Tackle burglars and protect your turf. Give yourself peace of mind catching everything around your home with Tyson Sound & Security's cutting-edge surveillance cameras. For safety and convenience, Tyson has you covered for all home cameras and security systems. I'm talking HD recording, night vision, and remote alerts all from your phone or computer. Call Tyson Sound & Security right now at 904-762-1000. Tyson Sound & Security. Security and automation experts.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Florida Gators close out Oklahoma State and advance to the next round of the College World Series. The Gators won 4-2 Monday afternoon, winning the Stillwater Regional with pitcher Fisher Jamison retiring 10 straight batters to close out the game. Up next, the Gators will face Clemson in the best-of-3 in the Super Regional in South Carolina this weekend. The Jaguars are nearing the end of OTAs with connections growing. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence spoke on the chemistry him and first-round draft pick wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. are creating.
You know, I think our chemistry is growing every day. I'm starting to get a feel for how he likes to run routes. I'm starting to, communicate more on how I want things to look and the thoughts that I have based on certain coverages or techniques on the defense. I think he's doing a good job of just soaking everything up, and that's what this time's about.
It's 85 degrees at 11 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Oh, big heated discussions on the state of medical care in the state of Florida going down on that break right there. And I'm telling you, it is scary. I was telling Tone, when I went in like 5 years ago, I probably told the story at the time, and I kept getting woken up in the middle of the night, and I kept sticking my finger. And at like 4 a.m., I'm finally like, it's not a big deal. It's this little prick in the finger, but just curious, why are you doing this? I'm testing your blood sugar. Okay, but why? Well, for your diabetes. What diabetes?
Yeah.
But what? Like, and then that was what the nurse was like. But, and she kind of looked up something, and she didn't say anything and left and never heard about it again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like, no.
Is that bad record keeping, or is that bad explanation from a nurse that we do this with everybody that's here?
Bro, I am just the reason I had to get up and leave a minute ago. You're gonna go into under the knife, whatever. They're gonna go through a checklist. You're on this, or not on this, or whatever. And she goes, "You're on this heart medication, this." No. And you are the 6th person in the last 2 weeks at your facility.
Whatever
that I've had to
chart y'all are
explain this
reading
to.
off of
it's
is
wrong.
wrong.
And how many times can I tell you that I'm not taking these things?
Mm-hmm.
Very aggravating.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome back, Jaguars Today.
Yeah.
Hour number 2. It's this real life creeping into little Jaguars coverage right here. Tone, why don't we find out how miserable everybody else is around the rest of the National Football League?
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
Atlanta running back Bijan Robinson was able to rejoin the Falcons on field for their OTA practice on Monday after missing some time due to what he called an ankle sprain. Robinson said that he feels good and that he is getting his conditioning back.
He's getting the CMC treatment. Tony, you're burying the lead big time here, all right? Bijan says Zach Robinson, coming over from the Rams, is going to give him the CMC treatment. Who got the CMC treatment there? Kyron Williams got it, right? Like a fifth-round pick. You don't think they're going to give Bijan the football? They're going to correct Arthur Smith's wrong-headed ways? Yes, this is a fantasy football opinion, okay?
I would imagine that would be the case.
Bijan.
Yeah, no doubt. Dallas Cowboys legend Larry Allen passed away suddenly on Sunday at the age of 52 while in Mexico on vacation with his family, according to an announcement made by the Cowboys. Allen was an 11-time Pro Bowler, a 6-time first-team All-Pro during his 14-year career, 12 years of which were spent with Dallas, the last 2 with San Francisco, a career that culminated with him being elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2013 in his first opportunity on the ballot. Allen was also selected by the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a member of the all-decade teams of the 90s and the 2000s. When the NFL's 100th anniversary team was announced in 2019, Larry Allen was one of 7 guards named to that team.
Just a beast. You know, Madden always said Larry Allen and John Hanna were the best pair of guards in the league. We, really pushed that Hanna narrative for a long time. Larry Allen could play tackle. He could do anything he wanted to. And,
play tackle early. And then
the stories,
the best guard in football.
The anecdotes about him were he would tell the guy lining up across from him, "He's coming right behind me," and you couldn't do a damn thing about it. Imagine again, Emmitt Smith, great, but imagine Barry Sanders running behind the line with Larry Allen.
Unreal.
I mean, how many more 1,000 yards might he have on the same amount of carries? Just absolutely absurd. All right, rest in peace, Larry Allen, 52 years young, and obviously didn't see it coming. He was on vacation, so it wasn't a chronic thing. He was a big guy, though, at least according to the most recent pictures you saw. See a lot of guys. We've seen a lot of guys over the years here in Jacksonville who played on the offensive and defensive lines. You're like, how did that guy ever play that? Because they drop 60, 70 pounds, right? Waking 180 people can help you out. All right, let's get back. Let's pick up with the countdown here. We're on number 3.
Number 3.
See, I told you. Dylan, who you got? Number 3 on the impact rookies and second-year players outside of the first-round picks.
I'm going to go with a guy that has a lot of potential. I'm going to go Mason Smith at number 3. I'm a high school coach, and you have a lot of times the college coaches will come by, and, they'll see a guy, and you're like, I don't think he's going to be that good at the next level. But that college coach is looking at a player based on what the potential he can do at the next level. And the same thing with the draft. Mason Smith, we've heard a lot about him when he was a freshman, what he's done. He hasn't been as good since the injury. A lot of position coaches while he was at LSU. But the potential that he has can be something that Jacksonville can completely change. And, we've seen last year that there was not any pressure in the run or the pass from the interior defensive line. Mason Smith can change that, so I'm going to go Mason Smith at number 3.
All right, Mason Smith at 3. I want to get Dylan to a press conference now and have him go, Doug, as a fellow coach, I noticed this. I think that would be great. But Mason Smith, I hope you guys are right. I don't have Mason Smith in my top 5. I hope you guys are right about that. Who do you have at number 3, Tone? At
3, I have Cam Little, kicker, 6th-round pick this year. I don't know how good or bad a kicker Cam Little will wind up being for the Jags, but there's a really good argument to be made that if McManus made one kick against the Bengals, they're a playoff team.
Yes.
Last year. I don't love putting kickers on this kind of list, but the weight of that kick points me to the impact for good or bad Little has the potential for during his rookie year here with the Jags, so I got him at 3 on my list.
Okay, I went with Antonio Johnson at 3 because I do think he has a chance to play significant time, maybe as a full-time starter, maybe as kind of like a hybrid, a little bit of safety here, some nickel over here. I just think he's going to be on the field a bunch for this team, and I think his ability outweighs his draft stock, and I think most people agreed with that, him falling to the 5th-round pick just in terms of ability was a coup for the Jaguars, he is a guy that got his feet wet in terms of making an impact down the stretch last year. So he starts in a better position than a lot of guys, and I think there's great opportunity for him to grab a spot in the secondary. And, he's a versatile player, so they're going to use him in a lot of ways. I think he's going to be on the field a ton this year. So Antonio Johnson, my number 3. I had Jordan Jefferson, Tank Bigsby, Antonio Johnson. Tony, you had
Mason Smith, Tank Bigsby, Cam Little.
And pockets.
Cam Little, Tank Bigsby, Mason Smith.
All right, so just different order, but a lot of the same guys right there. Before we get out of here today, we'll take a deeper look at some of the responses that you gave us. But when we come back here in a minute, let's get into the special teams side of things on the pyramid of power for the Jaguars. That side of the triangle through the eyes of Heath Farwell, Jaguars special teams coordinator. Been harping on it since the change has come. You want to be one of the cutting-edge teams on figuring out this kickoff return and coverage stuff, because early on in the season, you might be able to steal a win or two. You really might be able to. It's like when the Wildcat came in, Tone. It wasn't like a completely foreign concept.
No.
But you hadn't seen it put into use in the National Football League the way the Miami Dolphins did it with Ronnie Brown to that extent in a long time. And it was very difficult to deal with for some teams with just a few days to prepare in practice. And you can watch that XFL film until you get out there and see how it works in practice, because all the special teams coaches are saying a lot of the same stuff. We've got a lot of ideas. It's going to be interesting to see what actually works in practice, not in theory. So let's hear from Heath Farwell when we return in a moment. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. From the JOI studios at 1010XL.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute.
Where the pros go. Here's another look behind the microphone at 1010XL with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
You're such a diva. Let me tell you something. If we were a band, you know who you'd be? You'd be Mick Jagger.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Why do we have to fight?
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
Is your roof ready to weather the storm? Don't take chances with your home safety. Trust the experts at Universal Roof and Contracting. Get peace of mind knowing your home is protected from the elements. They'll ensure your roof is in top shape to handle anything Mother Nature throws its way. Right now, get 10% off a re-roof or repairs, plus a free wind mitigation with a full roof replacement. Call 855-ROOF-HELP or click universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Come for lunch and register to win train tickets at Daly's Place as the ladies of Helmets and Heels help Roland Reach Plumbing celebrate 25 years of service. This Thursday, noon till 2 at Roland Reach on Columbia Park Drive.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Cataracts are the leading cause of vision loss in the United States and blindness worldwide. Hicken here for Bowdnine Associates. June is Cataract Awareness Month. Cataracts are a condition that causes the eye's lens to become cloudy, which can block or change the way light passes through the eye. Bowdnine is here to take care of you or someone you know who are experiencing faded colors, intensified brightness to light, or poor night vision. Call or visit Bowdnine.com to schedule your consultation. Bowdnine Associates. They're keeping the First Coast focused.
Now that's what I call high quality H2O.
If you want high quality water throughout your home, call your local water boy. We install equipment to solve any water problem. Waterboyjas.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Hey, Hicken here, and I want to tell you about Beach's Dermatology and my doctor, Dr. Metz. I've been going to Dr. Metz for, gosh, I don't know how many years, decades. I got the scars to prove it. Listen, gents, I love the beach. I love to play golf. I love Florida. I love to go to my kids' games in the hot sun all weekend long. Summer's basically here, and the sun will be shining. Don't forget your sunscreen. Trust me on this. You need to go get checked out today. It's more important than you think. Give Beach's Dermatology a call online at beachesdermatology.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL.
All right, keeping the countdown rolling here on Jaguars Today, Tuesday Top 5. What are you going to do for the Wednesday Top 6, Tone? Anything special?
I don't know.
Anything planned? D-Rock coming in tomorrow?
D-Rock coming in tomorrow.
D-Rock's going to bring his own six-pack of goodies?
That's the plan. We'll see what's going on with that, yeah.
You going to do a little breakfast? Oh, you're going to strategize with the breakfast bowl?
No, he is.
Yeah, okay. D-Rock can bring a six-pack of Zima and flashback to the 90s.
Y'all got to figure something out. I'm a two-time defending champ.
I know you are. I don't like it at all. Can we get him fired, Pockets? You win 3 in a row.
I'll ask management.
It's like first place, Cadillac Eldorado. Second place, set of steak knives.
And some
Third
breakfast.
place, go find a new show.
That's right.
I don't like it at all. Pockets, though, comes in, never having won the thing. So we'll see how it goes. We got to get Taylor back in.
We do.
For the mix this year.
So 5 people?
I don't know.
Round table?
I think we did. Did we do 5 one year?
Yeah.
We did 5, right?
Yeah,
was the year Taylor did it.
Yeah.
We had D-Rock. Yeah.
But like in,
Plenty of players go
2
around.
years ago, we did it with the caller. That was the 5th team.
Yeah.
We've done it that way.
How many do it on your Sirius show, Mike?
On the Sirius XM show, we do 4.
Okay.
Yeah, we just do 4 every Friday. We do the 2 hosts and what do we do? 2 producers, I guess. I'm trying to think how we do it. I think that's how we do it. Yeah, we did. And no, what we do, we do 2 hosts. We do our producer, and then we have a mystery host, which is kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
And it's a different quote unquote expert in the field, right? And so they only each do it one time throughout the season. And you want to go early, and it's funny because it's like when we did with the listener team, they just load it up in the first week of the season.
Why
right?
wouldn't they?
Yeah, I don't care if I leave Christian McCaffrey for anyone else.
I get McCaffrey.
Look, there's something to it, man. You get him in, I mean, you got to use him. You know you want to use him. People get hurt.
Yeah.
You lose the opportunity.
A couple of years ago, everyone had to play that game with McCaffrey that was playing those kind of games
No
where
doubt.
you only got to use him once. It's like, now he's hurt. Oh, he's healthy enough to at least be in the lineup this week.
Who are the players? Who's the number
We
one
did it
player?
with Jefferson last year.
But going into the season, other than McCaffrey, who's the number one player that you say I got to take an early shot on because I got to make sure I get him in while the getting's good? I know who it is for me.
Yeah, I know who it is. Quarterback?
Yes, sir. AR.
Yep.
Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson has many top 5 fantasy finishes as Trevor Lawrence or C.J. Stroud did last year.
Yeah.
And he played 4 games.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, his ability to run.
Right. He's not saying he's the best
Predicates
quarterback
that, yeah.
in the division even.
Yeah.
It's just
In fantasy football.
he racks up the points.
He went on McAfee's show yesterday. He weighs 255 right now.
Is that
He
right?
was weighing 250 last year, so that's just like that's unbelievable for a quarterback.
Bro, I used to look at 255 and go, I wish I could get down to 255. But
and run like that guy runs.
I never ran like that guy could run, ever. I was in second grade. I wasn't that fast. All right, where are we at? Let's get a little Heath Farwell going here as the Jaguars special teams coordinator speaking yesterday out at practice. And let's get into this kickoff stuff. Different offseason as he's described it with the new kickoff rule and having to implement it.
It's way different. It's been a different offseason, obviously going on the road and working out kickers and doing that stuff, and obviously doing all the the backgrounds on those, and then of course the draft, and then of course we get the kickoff, new rules, changes my whole offseason. But it's been a great challenge. It's been really fun. So many of the special teams coaches are former players and made a good living, like myself, on special teams and covering those kicks. So the fact that we can bring the play back, we're super excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun to kind of see how it fits and how it works.
Are we going to have an instance, or maybe just a game at some point, where some team just can't figure it out? Like, I guess what would happen is early on, let's say somebody runs the opening kickoff back because they've got something set up that you're just not able to counter. You didn't expect it. And let's say the next one, Tone, they bust it for 65 yards and the kicker shoves them out of bounds. I think we're going to let them start at the 30, right? Yeah. I mean, at that point, you just kick it through the end zone. So it's never going to get to a point you would think where the entire game is overtaken by
right.
that.
If you created for yourself a massive advantage early in a game, the next time you're kicking off, someone's just going to kick it in the end zone. No more of this.
Right. If you, you better not be that coordinator that has to do that.
Right.
Obviously, with the whole offseason to work on it, but somebody will.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of the press conference with Coach Farwell yesterday was about the new rules.
Yeah.
He was also asked about his initial reaction to the new kickoff rule when it was announced.
It was different. I think that's the biggest thing. You have to embrace it. It's different. Like I said, I covered these kicks, and my traditional, what I think a kickoff looks like normal fans probably would. You have to put that aside because the reality is this play's going to go away, and guys like myself wouldn't have played as long as I did if I didn't have those two phases that are so valuable and so important to the game. So we're embracing it. It's different, but let's embrace the difference about it, and let's get more opportunity. This is a cool play that, again, once we learn it, our guys are loving. Dewey's so excited about this new kickoff rule just because he understands there's going to be that more opportunities to make tackles.
All right, let me put that through the translator. You ready? He's like, what is this clown show of a rule? You could hear it right there. He's like, you have to embrace it. That's what they say about stuff that they have no choice but to embrace, right? Like what are you going to do? We can complain about it. That would probably be what I would do. But at a certain point, you either embrace it or you get left behind. But it's, Heath Farwell, there's tons of context in there about, it's not what I'm used to doing. It's not the way when I see a kickoff return, and I made my career covering these things. And this is it's like, I got to believe some of them thought, what are we doing here? This is like tricked up, kind of like doing a shootout in like having a free throw contest to settle a basketball game in overtime. You know what I mean? This is weird kind of goofy stuff.
It's a big change.
It may be great. It may be super embraceable. It's just hard to see what it's going to look like.
There have been special teams rules that have been changed here in the last 20 years or so, that the rules are being changed because of the health, right? It's the most dangerous plays in the sport are going to be on these returns. It's going to be kick and punt return stuff. Both teams going absolutely full force down the field, and the collisions that occur when they're doing that kind of thing. This is when guys get hurt, is doing that kind of thing. They changed the onside kick rules to make it a less violent play. It also made it basically not a play.
Correct.
Anymore in the National Football League. They're changing the kickoff rules now because it's a less violent play. It's a different looking play. I'm not sure exactly what the results of this are going to be. We know the surprise onside kick is gone, right? They've basically eliminated onside kicks when they know they're coming. You can't recover them, basically, with the way that they're enforced right now. So from that perspective, that way of trying to come from behind in these kind of games late, gone. And that vanished a long time ago in the NFL now.
And it's less than 1%.
Right. And that every offseason we go into it saying, when are they going to do something about allowing teams to get the ball back in these late game situations? And the league keeps saying,
Right.
It's like,
and it goes both
it's too
ways.
bad that you trail by 14 with 3 minutes left.
If you're good and you're out in front, you're like, wait a minute. We've worked all this way to gain an advantage over 58 minutes, and now you're going to let this team have some kind of convoluted backdoor to catch up with us. And
I get it. And that was the argument against putting a 2-point conversion in as well, I'm sure. It's like, why should we allow them to do that?
Because you can do it too.
Right.
See, there's a big difference to me with a 2-pointer.
I'm with you.
Right? Like you can do it all day. Do it all day. And if you're 51%, you're better off doing it all day than kicking the extra point, unless you come down to a situation where it's like you're tied to win the game with 3 seconds left. And
it doesn't make any sense.
Right. It doesn't make any sense to go for 2 because even if you're 51%, you're going to be a lot higher on that kick. Farwell is saying no idea what other teams are going to do when it comes to utilizing this rule on the kickoffs.
There's so much unknown. Are you going to bomb it out the back of the end zone? Are you going to get the normal hang kicks to the goal line and force your return? Are you going to get some of the knuckleball missile kicks to put the ball on the ground so the kickoff team can cover? We don't know what we're going to get. And so we've practiced all these. We've looked at them ourselves on our kickoff group. Can we do these? Are these effective? What's what's going to work? What are we going to see? We don't know. We'll see.
We don't know.
Yeah. And I think trying to figure out how you're going to defend it is just as interesting as trying to figure out how you're going to use it, right, to your advantage, because it is so radically different than we've typically seen. It runs more like a regular play, obviously, than it ever did, because you're not getting to run, and get that momentum. And those kind of like, I grew up watching football when they had wedge busters.
Right.
Right, like that was
Wasn't
just
that long ago.
Right, like somebody's job was just to go down the field and slam their body into somebody else's body to try to create an opportunity for somebody else to make a play. Like that was the whole idea. Was this is my job on special teams? Go bust my head.
And
is
by the
my
way,
job.
I was fine with it. Like you know what you're signing up for, right?
I was
it's
too.
The league. I was fine when they eliminated it. Like I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, back in my day, because things change and evolve. And I brought up the example countless times. It used to be acceptable to clothesline tackle someone across the neck.
Yeah.
And that was fine until it's not. And I'm sure at that time they outlawed it. They said, it's weak. Oh, we drink out of, backyard hoses. We don't take water breaks. Whatever.
And I do, when NFL Network will show these vintage games, right? And you're watching football from the 60s and 70s when they were still allowing those kind of things. I'm entertained by it.
Look,
right, like watching somebody do that, I'm like, wow, that's fun.
Right, it's crazy. I didn't have to. It's because it's an archive from the past.
Yeah.
Like we know a little bit better now. I could see if you get a couple of teams that are really good at this becoming a hugely popular aspect of your team. Like man, it's just such a unaccounted for advantage that you could have. So I could see SportsCenter doing like top 10 kick return plays of the week kind of thing. Either
if they're any good,
right, big returns or creative uses of how you kick the ball and things like that, which we'll get to. Let's get a couple more in from Heath Farwell here. Said that throughout the season, you can't just stick with one thing. Whatever you go in with, it's got to evolve over the course of the year.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we're going to learn. We've learned a lot this spring. We'll learn more in training camp, maybe some in preseason, depending on how much people show. But week one, everybody's going to show their cards, and it's a copycat league. We're all going to look at each other like we do every other phase. This is nothing new. We're going to look at everybody else's stuff and say, I like that, I don't like that, or maybe this is just add this to ours. We like ours, but this is a little wrinkle I like. So, yes, everybody's going to watch each other's like we do every week. It's no different. But, yeah, because of the unknown, yes, we're going to learn a ton from week one, week two of the season.
And to just give you an idea of how much of a wild card this new kickoff thing would be, this next cut is him talking about, we're going to explore using non-kickers for the kickoffs because now the goal isn't to kick it into the end zone necessarily. It's just to have the best defense you can possibly have on the field at that point. And I get it. I probably wouldn't want my kicker to be the safety on the play either, ultimately when everything is said and done. But he was asked about exploring at least that option.
I have a bunch of guys have already nominated themselves, starting with Andre Sisco. He's already campaigning, stretching his leg out. And so, yes, I've thought about it. We will explore it. Right now, I've been so focused on learning the scheme, learning the details of it. Obviously, with the kicker competition, I've been solely working on that. We will look into it, but right now we have not put anybody in there but a kicker.
So far, right? And look, here's the thing. It could be a great advantage for your team because it's kind of like, with the running quarterback. Before you had kind of 11 defenders against 10 offensive players because the quarterback didn't run much in the National Football League. Now that guy, the quarterback, can be unaccounted for a lot of times. That's why it's so dangerous. You're sitting back there. The kickers, they make tackles now, but the frequency of how much you're involved, according to some of the coaches who study the XFL, it's like a third of the time. Mm-hmm. That they're either making the tackle or primarily like the last guy that has to force leverage.
Their leverage, yeah.
And that's a lot of involvement on kickoff, way more than it is right now in the NFL. So, okay, great. We put Andre Sisco back there. He blows a few guys up. Andre Sisco pulls a hamstring doing it. You got to accept it. If you're going to accept it going in, you got to accept the fallout that might potentially come with it. And is it worth it? That's one of the things you got to balance, I think, as a coordinator now. All right, Dylan, up to number 2 in the countdown, I believe.
Number 2.
I believe. Tony, what do you got at 2?
Number 2, I have Jarian Jones. Cornerback, third-round pick this year. Has the opportunity to win a starting role in the corner room from day one. I had him at number 5 on my list of my favorite moves of the Jaguars offseason. 0 touchdowns allowed on 458 coverage snaps since 2022. Looks like the long-term answer at slot corner, which is a starter in today's NFL. The emotion from him, as I said when I talked about it a few weeks ago, is so much fun to watch. Plus, he was one of the more than half a dozen names that Coach Peterson mentioned yesterday about standouts the last couple weeks at OTAs. He did have another pick at practice yesterday. I think it was Mac Jones that he got at practice yesterday. But all the reports coming out of OTAs are that Jarian Jones has been one of the stars in this 3 weeks that they've been on the field.
Mac Jones challenging Tank Bigsby for that short yardage roll. We've all seen the clip now. Come on. Dylan, who do you have at 2?
I got the same. I got Jarian Jones, FSU. I just think that, we still don't know what the depth, or not the depth, but the secondary is going to look like for what we're going to do. Are we going to play multiple? Or what are we
we're
what
multiple.
Are we doing? Okay, we're
multiple. Definitely multiple, yes.
So, we don't know if he's going to play inside or outside. It looks like they like Ronald Darby on the outside. Looking at the last couple of years, he played most of his last 2 seasons, but when he was in Philly, he played 8 and 9 games. 3 or 4 years ago. So, if that happens, Jones has to be the guy who fills in and plays that role.
I got him at 2 as well. Oh, look, he's going to, I think, at worst be the nickel. I really do. Mm-hmm. Yes, Darnell Savage is a vet, and he's probably played some kind of nickel in some capacity, but he's been a safety. I think Jones, they love his profile. The metrics you're talking about, Tony, he was outstanding, especially when they moved him inside. Hayes Carline, they keep bringing this up 4 or 5 weeks ago, thinks he has a chance to start on the outside. And, whoa, Darby can't play inside. It's very easy. You shift Jones inside. A lot of corners do it when you go to nickel. And then he becomes your nickel corner when you have 3 on the field. Either way, he's going to play a bunch. He's a good special teamer. He's going to play a lot, man. Yeah. And I just let's hope that he does anyway, and he does it effectively as they get more out of this third-round pick than they have in a lot of recent third-round picks rookie years. So a clean sweep for Jarian Jones, talking about the top 5 most impactful Jaguars, either rookies or second-year players, not including the first-round picks, right? So take Anton Harrison, Brian Thomas Jr. out of the list, and we end up with a lot of the same names. It's all in who comes down to the number 1 spot. We'll unveil ours and look at some of yours when we come back here in a moment. This is Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods, Dandy Sandwiches, Dandy Subs, whatever time of day it is. If you're driving around Duval, you know you can swing into a gate station, head to the Fresh Case, and get super fresh, super delicious, high-quality food from my friends at Dandy Sandwiches and Subs. The Anytime Deli line, that's part of the Dandy umbrella as well. It's all right there at the Fresh Case. The one right down the block from 1010XL has over 30 varieties, breakfast, lunch, snacks, anytime sandwiches, subs, the full line of everything you could possibly want. Some of the sandwiches they've got, like a hot roast beef and provolone, an Italian combo that melts in your mouth, an all white meat spicy buffalo chicken, the classic big old juicy 100% beef cheeseburger, all 4 of those served on fresh ciabatta bread, which they bake locally and deliver daily, as you'd expect from Dandy, a local company that's been taking care of Duval for nearly 70 years now. Super successful, super delicious. When you're hungry for food on the go, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today.
From the JOI studios at 1010XL. On and off the field, at home, on the road, practice or game day, Hayes Carline covers the Jaguars daily on the all-new 1010XL.com. 1010XL.com.
If you're an experienced, skilled plumber or welder that's MedGas certified and you're tired of working for a company that just doesn't treat you right, Local 234 is the place for you. Their pay is the best in the business. You'll walk away with $35.09 an hour in your pocket. With benefits, that's just over $50 an hour. Local 234 has been around since 1901, and that means something. Visit UA234.com to send your resume. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Kick it here with Zero Res. If you're like me, you like to sit on the sofa and recliners and watch a good game or show. You know, unwind down from the day. But sometimes TV time means food, drink, and a mess as well. That's why you need to have the Zero Res truck out and get that furniture looking great again. All of June, Zero Res offering 25% off all upholstery cleaning, 25% off a sectional, off a sofa, 25% off a love seat, 25% off your favorite recliner. Zero Res, man, you spell it forwards, you spell it backwards. Zero Res, it's the right way to clean.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at goosehead.com.
Get fishing tips and stories from Captain Kevin.
Bite's gonna pick up pretty soon.
On the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Whoa! Thursday nights at 6.
On 1010XL AM.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Are mosquitoes turning your outdoor fun into a full contact sport? Time to call in Kingfish Pest Control. I can tell you from my own experience, they are the MVPs of mosquito elimination. See for yourself. Call Kingfish Pest Control today and get an unbeatable 50% off your first treatment. That's right, sign up for a full season of lockdown coverage and get 50% off your first treatment. Don't let mosquitoes steal your home field advantage. Reclaim your yard with Kingfish Pest Control.
What's changed totally inside and out? The Kuhn Flowers massive storefront, and yes, they've totally remodeled the showroom inside too. This is Frank Frangie, and the next time you drive by, stop and smell the roses at Kuhn Flowers.
I know you want maximum equity from your home, but you're not quite sure how when it comes time to sell it. I'll tell you how. I'll give you two hows, Chad and Sandy. More on that in a second. It's a tougher market now. It means it's crucial to hire the right agents to sell your home to maximize price, and we have been telling you now for years, and why I'm recommending Chad and Sandy Newman at chadandsandy.com. They've got the plan and experience to sell your home fast for maximum cash. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time, but most importantly, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Take Mary in Panther Creek. My dream was to move from my Panther Creek home into a new Del Webb Sweetwater home closer to my family. Chad and Sandy made it happen. They sold my own home in just 14 days, plus they helped me get into my new dream home at the same time. Call the Jacksonville experts I trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy at 414-6200, 904-414-6200, or chadandsandy.com.
The Sunshine State says it all in the nickname. That summer sun in Florida can take its toll on an air conditioning unit and send your electric bill through the roof. Florida Home AC can help you handle the heat with a brand new AC unit with low monthly payments and over $3,000 in federal tax credits on select systems. So this summer, don't sweat it out. Cool off with Florida Home AC, the official AC company of the Jaguars. Call them today, 777-4300, and check out their tremendous savings on a brand new AC system.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing will last 2 to 3 times longer than a shingle roof? If you want a better roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Schedule your free estimate today at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, man. Boy, Tone, I don't know if we can get to any more of this Heath Farwell. We'll see, maybe one or two. We got so much audio from yesterday. Doug Peterson, still a lot that we never really got to on yesterday's program, but you and D-Rock can handle any leftovers tomorrow that you would like. We went through all the Trevor Lawrence stuff today, and a lot of stuff from Heath Farwell on the individual players that are going to make special teams rise or fall this year. Stuff there, and in fact, talking about Jarian Jones has been really good on special teams among the players we've discussed this morning. Our Tuesday Top 5 Jaguars Today question of the day, presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate, asking you that, excluding the first-round picks for the last couple of years, which rookies or second-year Jaguars will have the biggest impact on the team in 2024? Dylan, we've arrived at...
Wait 1 second.
Number 1.
Dylan! You got one job to do. All right, Tony Smith, who's in number 1 on your list?
Number 1, Antonio Johnson. Safety, 2023 fifth-round pick. Had 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, and a sack last year for the Jags during his rookie year while playing just 170 defensive snaps. So he was around the football a ton when he was on the field. His is the easiest of the group of players we've discussed today to have any kind of real idea of how much he's going to play, right? Because I do think he's going to have a pseudo starting role at the very least.
Is there a world, though, and this is what kept him at number 3 on my list, is there a world where Cisco and Savage are your safeties, Jarian Jones is your nickel, and they work Antonio Johnson in a variety of capacities, including special teams, but he's maybe not a, quote, starter for this football team?
I think going through what he did when he was on the field last year, I think it's going to be really hard to keep him off the field. Right, I just think that he is a talented enough player that they're going to find a way to use him. I'm with you. I'm not sure exactly how clear that role is going to be for him. I'm not saying that I think when they're in two safeties all the time, that he's one of those two safeties. I'm not convinced that that's exactly how it's going to work, because he does have the versatility to do so many different things. So they're going to move him around a lot, I would think, like they can do with a Savage too, right? Like they have two of those kind of pieces where they can kind of move him around. But I think both those guys are going to be on the field a ton. And I think the production we saw just in, going through those numbers that he had last year, I would expect him to be better after having a year, right? I'm not sure how much this defense helps or hurts him personally, because we don't know exactly what that looks like really for anybody in the defense ultimately. But I think Antonio Johnson, of the guys that we've discussed, is the easiest to see playing time for him, even easier for me than Jarian Jones. And I think both those guys are going to play a ton this year for the team.
Yeah, I guess that's it for me, that I'm like, if it were up to me, if I were building the lineup, I'd probably have him at 1 or 2.
Sure.
But I had at 3 is not that far down, but it's kind of like Mason Smith. I don't know, is this kind of, I'm not saying Antonio Johnson gets a redshirt year. He's played. He's had his redshirt year. Yep. But, they have a lot of options back there in the secondary. Dylan, who do you have at 2?
I went with the same, Antonio Johnson.
Sorry.
Yeah, number 1. If you look at the box score, it doesn't really show a lot, the tackles, and he had 2 picks. I just remember it felt like every time, like, you watched the games later in the season when he became healthy, like, he was around the ball. And if he can continue that production into this year for a full season, like, there's no way that guy, regardless of everybody else around him, that guy can't be on the field.
Okay. I have no issue with all these guys. We all have them. Yeah. Basically, our top 4 is about the same.
Yeah.
Interesting, nobody had Brenton Strange in there in our top 5. Dylan, if you would, fire up today's 10-10 take.
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take, brought to you by Leonard Truck Accessories.
I'll let these guys recap their top 5 in a second as well. I went Jordan Jefferson at 5. It's kind of a wild card because I think he can really be potentially the best nose tackle that they have on this roster. Bigsby at 4. We all had that. Antonio Johnson. I had at 3. We all had Jarian Jones at 2. I have Cam Little at 1. And I don't feel like this is going back to the era of Tone, we're the best players on the team. Well, it's Scobie. He scores all the points. The kicker is very important.
Yeah.
And I fully expect when you spend a draft pick on a guy, unless you have whiffed entirely, that guy is going to be your guy. And so I expect Cam Little to be the kicker for the Jacksonville Jaguars, get every opportunity to prove that he can be the kicker, be able to work through a few early misses if necessary, because they do have a draft pick investment in him. And look, as we've talked about till we're teal in the face, I'll call it. If Brandon McManus makes one against Cincinnati, maybe the Jags are a playoff team and this entire offseason feels differently. If Cam Little's the difference in winning 1 or 2 games, I don't know that we're going to be able to point to Antonio Johnson or Jarian Jones or Tank Bigsby and say, without him today, could not have won that game.
It's hard to predict what the high leverage situation is going to be for a safety.
Right.
Right? It's not that they don't exist,
Absolutely.
but it's hard to predict exactly what that's going to look like or be. Kicker, it's a whole lot easier to figure out.
He's going to have some.
Right? Like, it's when we have to have a kick at the end of a game, that's it. Right? Like, that's the job. And we saw McManus didn't come through in that situation last year against the Bengals. It's, as we discussed as we were going through the list, that's why I had it at 3 on the list. It's not because I love putting kickers on these kind of lists, but it's not unreasonable to have them on this kind of list today, given how important the high leverage situations that we know he's going to be put in are, because his high leverage situation is we win or we lose.
Yes.
Likely based on whether or not he does the job in this moment.
And if he comes through in a couple of those moments, I mean,
impact is huge.
It's huge. And all this talk about the kickoff, Tone, kickoff placement is going to be a big part of this as well, presuming that he does handle the kickoffs, right? Because they have talked about looking at position players. That's going to be a big aspect of this whole thing as well. How much can you use directional kicking to kind of pin teams into doing something they might not want to do?
Yeah.
So I got Cam Little at 1. Interestingly enough, I'm looking at look, Cam Little, Jarian Jones, Antonio Johnson, Tank Bigsby, those 4 were on so many of the lists that we got and expected. So, but here's an example. Scott and Cristiano sent their lists in, had the same 5 players. Brenton Strange is their 5th guy.
Okay.
I'll call him the 5th guy. On the 1, Scott goes Little, Jones, Bigsby, Strange, Johnson in that order, right, from 1 to 5. Little, Jones, Bigsby, Strange, Johnson. Cristiano goes Bigsby, Johnson, Jones, Strange, Little. Almost the exact opposite, but it's the same cluster of guys that we're looking at here. So let me see what other names stand out here. I saw a few Javon Fosters in here. I hope not.
I hope not, yeah.
Right, I hope, because that would signify likely multiple injuries on the offensive line. So I hope that's not the case. Ventrell Miller from Spider Jag getting a little love in there. Parker Washington, unless Cephas balls out, from Andrew. Andrew's always replying to these. Appreciate that. Definitely some Mason Smith, as you guys both had Mason Smith in your top 5 today. Looking through here, any other outliers? You've got to be Elijah Cooks getting some run here in the response. Keelan Robinson got a few mentions because of the kickoff return rule as well. We got time, Dylan. Let's hear that one. I just wanted to hear the cut 10, if we could, from Heath Farwell. Keelan Robinson, kind of a guy that, right, what? Who they're drafting a running back. What? Oh, special teams. Okay, return guy. And so Farwell was asked specifically about Robinson. Yesterday said he loved him right away.
Keelan Robinson was the guy that he was my number one running back that I watched. I loved him right away. You saw what he did as a returner, but I saw him playing other phases. So he has the ability to play multiple phases for us, whether it's a gunner, whether it's a corner on punt return, which he did some in college. But he's an elite returner, a kick returner, and he's actually been out there doing punt returns as well. So he's a talented player with very good speed, tough, physical. He does all the things we liked, and then of course I think he does a good job on offense. That the offensive guys were on board. They liked him as well, catching the ball in the backfield, doing some of the stuff he does.
This audio courtesy of Jaguars.com. We appreciate our partners over there. For that, Keelan Robinson, look, answers my question, right? Why is Agnew kind of floating around in the back of their mind? Elite returner. That's Heath Farwell's words. Among running backs, when he's talking about running backs for the special teams role, because it's changing now where it's becoming more desirable to have that type of body back on these kickoff returns, even more, at least it's felt. It was always a little bit more so than punt returns, but that out of all the running backs they scouted in terms of special teams impact was his number one guy. And so when, for them, they thought they got their guy when they drafted Keelan Robinson. For us, we were like, what do they do? Oh, okay, I guess he's I see the profile. He's a return guy, and it makes sense and all that. Did they need to take him there? Well, they probably were delighted to take him there based on what Heath Farwell is saying about him. And if he can do a little bit of punt return, look, you've got an all-pro guy. If you want to break glass in case of emergency and let Keelan Robinson handle it, Devin Duvernay is the guy and needs to be the guy for this football team, and will, I fully believe. But it's good to hear that he's not just, look, because the second guy, who knows how teams are going to do it? Are you going to be able to that specifically kick it to the one side to where, like, if you really have a much better option back there, is Duvernay not able to get to that ball? He'd probably be able to get to a lot of them. But how many plays will they have set up? Will they have two guys back on the goal line? I don't know.
Well, and all the other roles, right? Like that they're looking at him saying that he can play gunner on punt, that he can do these different things. There were questions when they drafted him. If he's just going to be the second kick returner, then how does he get active on game day consistently, right? Like those were the kind of questions we had with Parker Washington last year. It's how is he ever active on game day if Christian Kirk isn't hurt?
Correct.
Right? And it felt like Keelan was kind of in that situation. But if he's able to be that kind of second kick returner and be a gunner for you on punt and help you on covering these kicks as well, if he's able to do all that special team stuff, then you can see why he'd be active anytime he's healthy.
Could he be an emergency running back for you in the right circumstance?
If he gives you any of that.
By the way, Professor Floyd also threw Cooper Hodges in his 5. So, if you're projecting the next year, I could absolutely see that. Again, I hope he doesn't make that impact this year because I hope that the Brandon Sheriff still has one of those seasons left in him.
No doubt.
Dylan, why don't we wrap it up?
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
I need to cool down sometimes, man. I tell you. All right, today I'm really looking at impact players. There's these lists that we're looking at just tell you that we need these contributions from this core of 4 or 5, maybe 6 young players that you can find internal improvement on this Jacksonville Jaguar team. In whatever order, some guys in the secondary like Antonio Johnson and Jarian Jones, a guy like Tank Bigsby, a kicker when you get drafted. Come in, make an instant impact. No sense waiting around. You don't have to have that kind of red shirt year. If you can come in and make an impact, let's go. Some of you have already had that. So, again, we focus so much on the first-round picks. We focus so much on free agency, what teams have done to add. You can get that internal improvement from some of your role players and make your team significantly better. Trevor Lawrence wants his deal done by training camp. So do we. I just want it out of the way, be done with it. Yeah. We can quibble over the numbers. We can spend a week talking about the numbers, but when it gets time to focus on football and training camp, that's what it's going to be time to focus on. And rest in peace, Larry Allen, one of the greatest offensive linemen in our generation or any generation to play in the National Football League. Gone too soon at the age of 52. All right, that'll do it for us today. Mike DeRocco going to join Tony in studio tomorrow for the program. I hope to be back with Tone on Thursday. We'll see how things go on that front. But I'll be off tomorrow, and trust me, I would much rather be here. Much rather be here.
I'd wish it for you too.
All right, and at least I got a ball game I can watch tonight. Yesterday I'm just like in the last 48 hours before you got to go in. It's just like you're just trying to pass the time, man. I didn't even have a baseball game, Tony, yesterday to get by. All right, for Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Glad we could bring you some of the thoughts of Trevor Lawrence, Heath Farwell, and others this morning. Helmets and Heels coming your way for the next couple of hours, and we invite you to keep it right here all day long on your home for the Jaguars, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the